Tisha Monique here with Uniquely Created. Today on the blog, I am sharing my adoption process. I will also be sharing next week, hopefully, my adoption story. So today I'm just talking about adoption, the things that you should expect, answering questions that I've received about adopting as a single person, what does it take, how much does it cost, and my experience altogether. Just let's start off with why I ended up wanting to adopt. So in August of 2014, I was in Orlando, Florida with my family, celebrating the birthday that I had that year. My mom had given me the gift to go to Disney World. I'm a big Disney head. Like, I love Disney. I don't care how old I am. I'll be 75 still wanting to go to Disney with my grandkids, hopefully. But then like, I love Disney. So while we were there, I had a moment to myself. I believe my family had went off to like the gift shop or something, and I was just sitting on a bench outside of our hotel, and I just started thinking about life and how blessed I was. So while I was sitting there, I was just thinking like, wow, I really spent my whole, like pretty much the whole school year complaining about my life, while I had students who had never been to Disney World, had never been outside of the state of North Carolina, some had never been outside of their city, some had never even ventured outside of their neighborhood. Like, their lives have been deprived of so many things. But as a teacher, there's so much that you can do. Like, you're not their parent. So while I was sitting there having this big revelation, I was just like, what can I do? What more can I do? And that was when you ask and you shall receive. Adoption came on my heart. And I had never thought about adopting. I've always wanted a big family. When I was a child, I always wanted 10 kids. My paternal grandmother had 8, so I was like, oh, I have to do more. I want 10, but I want 9 boys and 1 girl. Like, that was my, like, I even named all 10 of them. Like, I always saw myself having a large family. And even then, I always saw it as me giving birth to these kids. So adoption had never run across my mind. So when it did come to me, I knew it was from God. Like, I knew that God placed that on my heart. When I went back home that year, started working and doing some research, and throughout my research, I learned that there were 2 different types of adoption. You have private adoption, which can cost thousands of dollars, and you have public adoption. And I knew that private adoption could cost anywhere from as little as $8,000 all the way to $30,000 or more. So when I found out about public adoption and throughout my research, it looked like it would cost no more than $2,500, even $3,000. I was like, I can do that. What you're paying for throughout the adoption are all those legal fees. You're paying your court fees, you're paying the lawyer fees, you're paying for the documentation fees. You have to pay to have their birth certificates changed when you change their name. For all the documentation that you're getting to get legal rights of that child, that's what that money goes to. So I called the Department of Social Services here in North Carolina, and they had the number to call for foster care and adoption. So I called in March, and the representative that answered the phone was just flat out like, we're not doing adoptions right now, we're on hold, and we will probably be on hold until about December of this year. And then she went on to say, when we do lift the hold, we will only have children 8 and up eligible for adoption. I had already had in mind that I wanted a toddler boy. A boy like 1, 2, 3 years old. She said that there are other organizations who will provide the service for you. So I picked 2. One was actually here in my city, and then there was another one that covered my region from like the north part of South Carolina up to my city. So I contacted that group, and when I spoke to the supervisor for my direct area, she told me that they were still doing adoptions. They were not on a hold. That DSS would work through them. And she also said that with my age range, that it would probably take a little bit longer, but she was like, it should take 6 to 9 months. This is gonna happen a lot faster than I thought. So anyway, she sent me the application. So the application is pretty much your autobiography. Like, they ask you question after question. So you will have to have all of the places that you lived from birth to that age, whomever you lived with from birth to that age, like they ask from like 0 to 5, and then like 5 to 10, and then like 10 to 15. Like, they want to know every job that you've had, every school that you've attended, who you dated, if you're married, how many times you've been married, how long you've been married, when you were divorced, if you're infertile, why, and like how do you feel about that, why do you want to adopt, what you would do for that child, were you ever abused in any type of way, because remember, these kids are coming or maybe coming from more than likely an abusive environment. So you want to be honest and also smart about how you answer this. And what wasn't shared with me, which I wish I would have known. This application is not just an application, it becomes a part of your home study. Your home study is what gets sent out to the social workers. That is like your resume when you're applying for a job. So if I would have known that, then I would have really used my writing skills to make it look fabulous. I just thought I was filling out this big old application, and I was just like blunt and direct to the point. So I did not realize that. So just keep that in mind when you're filling out that application, that autobiography about yourself, that is what is going to represent you. So once I finished that, I had to do 5 references, and I sent it with like almost an announcement asking them to do this for me, and I included the self-addressed stamped envelope so that they didn't have to worry about that hassle. You're either going to be approved or denied. So clearly I was approved, and then I was assigned to my adoption worker. So your adoption worker is going to be the person that you're going to be working with throughout this whole process. So them visiting your home is the second part of the home study, and they actually check your home. And what they're looking for, depending on how many kids you say you want, and I believe the maximum is 5. Not sure, because I was going for 1 and that was 2, so I'm not sure if it's 5 or more. I think the cutoff is 5. They come to see how many beds you have. So for however many children you put down, you should have that number of beds in your house. Children are allowed to share a room up until the age of 5. At that point, they should have their own room. They're looking to see if they have a dresser drawer. Not a whole dresser. They just need to have 1 dresser drawer per child. And that's really all that they're looking for. Those are the kind of things that they look for. So once your home study is done, the visit's done, your application's done, because you've gone over it, you said it's okay, you made your corrections, then all of that gets sent in to the state. And the state will either approve it or not. If it's approved, then you get to move on to the next step. Throughout that time, however, between me applying and my home study being approved, I had to complete 40 hours of training. So while my adoption worker was coming back and forth doing my visits, or either I would go to her office to do a home visit at the office, that summer I was also taking my training courses to get my license. So for me, the training classes were really awesome. They were great. Even though they were in the summertime on a Saturday, I look forward to actually going. The subjects were not just about being a parent. They were really great life lessons. Like, there were stuff that you could apply to relationships, to your job, like really beneficial things on how to deal with conflict, how to deal with any type of issues, how to deal with people. As far as the cost, so I already told you about the home study and how that works, the classes and how that works. For the agency that I went through, the only things that I had to pay for were the application, which was $110, and I had to be CPR certified, that was $25, and that was one of our training classes, and my agency provided the training, so I didn't have to pay for any of the training. I just had to pay for the CPR certification. And then I also had to do a criminal background check. So whoever is over 18 living in that house will have to do a criminal background check. Whoever, and that was $25 here in North Carolina, so that would depend on your state. So for me, my total cost was $160. Alright, so the next thing is the matching phase. So once your application has been approved, your home study has been approved, you've done all the training classes, so you graduated from that, your license has been approved, you now are officially set to go into the matching phase. So this is the last phase before you are placed with your child. So in the matching phase, you want to keep an open mind and an open heart, because this is the most physically and emotionally draining phase of the entire process. So when I got my first profile in January of the next year, I was like, I jumped on it. I was like, oh my gosh, it was for 2 boys. The profiles generally give you a good amount of information about them, and it sometimes will give you information about their parents. Some cases yes, some cases no. So this was the first set of profiles that I got after I was approved, and I even got a picture. So I'm looking at these 2 beautiful boys, bright eyes. The oldest one, I was just like, oh my gosh, she has some of my features. I sent the picture over to my mother, and my mom was like super excited. She had said she would not get excited, that she didn't know if she would be able to get attached or anything. Like, she got so excited. So yeah, so once you have been accepted and you have your license, you are set to get 4 visits per year by your adoption worker. So I submitted for the brothers, and 2 weeks later, it was my first quarter visit from my adoption worker. And I pretty much had not thought like to ask her anything about them. I was just trying to be patient and just wait, because I'm like, this is a long decision. They're not going to come right back at me and say, oh yeah, you've been matched. So I just continued to pray every day about it. So when she came that Saturday for my home visit, that's when I was just like, have you heard anything about the boys? And she was like, well, and I knew it wasn't going to be good. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is she about to say? So this is where the whole adopting single comes in. She said, because the boys were from Wake County, I believe. So she was like, well, my colleagues in that county, I was talking to them. I think they might have had like a conference or something. And they were saying how the boys' social worker reached out to them, asking them if they could interview their clients. Their clients had not even submitted for these boys, but the clients lived in the same county that the boys lived in. The clients were all married couples. I submitted for them. I don't live in a county, I live hours away, and I'm single. And you are contacting people who did not even submit for them because they live close and they're married. And that's when it hit me like, okay, so you can't discriminate against me because I'm single. So you still let me go through all of this. But now their social workers are discriminating against me because I'm single. Of course I didn't get them. They ended up going to a married couple. So that is another thing. So yes, you can adopt single. I've met single women, single men who have adopted, who were matched, even were matched with siblings. I just did not have good luck with that. And I know for me, it was just like, well, it wasn't God's will. Like, that's how I answer everything when I get a no. Because April, and I was set to go to a matching event. So the matching event was at a church here in my town. And the flyer said that it was for older kids, like 8 and up. And I was just like, why am I even going when I want a toddler? So I was really reluctant to go. Even though I had said yes I would go, I was still reluctant. I just wanted to go to experience it. So here we are now, the day to go, and I'm just like, why am I going? Like, I'm really in a bad mood about it. Get in my car, pray the whole time, and that's when it hit me, like, you were being selfish. You did not go into this whole process to get something out of it. You went into this process to be able to offer something to a child, and now you realize that you can offer something to 2 kids. It's not about what you want, it's about who God has for you. And when I went into the room, it looked like a fellowship hall. They had tables just set up, and I immediately pictured speed dating from like commercials or like TV shows or movies. So then the kids all came in together, and they went in and each sat at a table. Once this little girl walked in, and I immediately went to her table. I was like, no one else going to her, I'm going to her table. So I went to her table, and she looked like she was about 7 years old. And we had questions to ask. They had the same questions to ask us. We had 2 minutes, and they had already said either you can start it or the kids can start it. So I was like, all right, now I'm in my teacher mode, thinking about how uncomfortable she would feel and how intimidated she must feel knowing that she's about to do this with all these strange people. So I was just like, would you like to start the questions, or do you want me to start? And here came the sassiness. Oh, I'll start the questions. Go ahead, little girl. Go ahead. And that's when I was just like, I can do this. I can take on an older girl. But because I was able to meet her, it made it more real. So if you ever have the opportunity to actually go to a matching event, I suggest you do it. So I did submit for her, even after I found out about her, all of the things she was dealing with. I still submitted. So now it's the summertime, July. I hear back from her social worker. 3 months later, went for the interview. I didn't hear back from them again until October. Yeah, so it was April, then it was July, then it was October. Her social worker and I played phone tag for 2 weeks before I was able to get a hold of her. And then that's when I got the news. So, once again, second time, they denied me for a couple. So this is how I found out I didn't get number 3. Did you submit for the kids in Wake County? And I was like, no. I submitted for, and I said their names, a brother, sister. Oh, you know you didn't get them. All nonchalant, like it was just part of our average daily conversation. And I was just like, no. Yeah, they went to a family. They went to a couple. Well, thanks for breaking it to me that way. And that's when I decided this is it. So that same day she said, your home study expires in June. And I think my foster care, my adoptions license expires in October. Clearly, I will have to renew my home study in order to even continue to adopt up until September, October. And to renew my home study would be $300. So by that time, my experience with her had really just gone downhill. And what started out to be really positive and great and full speed ahead, it ended on a really sour note. Once I found out like my home study was going to be expired and I was not about to pay $300 to renew it, when it's like the reasons I kept getting denied were because I'm single, and that's not about to change. Like, I'm not getting married. If it's meant for me to adopt, I can adopt anytime for the rest of my life. If it's meant to happen, it will happen between January 1st and June of whatever date of 2017, if it's meant for me to adopt at this time. So I was just like, just send me whatever profiles you get of kids 0 to 5 between now and June. Because I'm not going to renew my home study. At this time, I need to focus on some other things. And then January 9th, I get the profile. That will change my life forever. Stay tuned.